ho, ho.
Welcome to Autumn Leigh at Home, everybody. Today, I thought it would be fun for us to make some interesting cookies that are a little bit more special than just your average cookie. So we're gonna make a red velvet cookie with green sprinkles and a kind of like a cupcake chocolate chip cookie with cream cheese filling. And then the red velvet cookies are also gonna have cream cheese filling. So these are new recipes for me, but I thought it would be so much fun because we have a work Christmas party coming up this weekend and I wanted to be able to take something a little bit more special than just cookies. So follow along with me and we'll go ahead and get started. I also wanna share with you guys our family tradition of getting to go to the Christmas tree farm every year. So I'll show that footage now, and that way you can see that every year we take our kids to the Boyd family Christmas tree farm in North Carolina, and we have so much fun and we are able to explore. And my kids, one of their favorite things to do every year is hike up the mountain, and that's my tradition with them. I used to do it with my brothers and sisters as well, and now I get to share that tradition with my kids. So this is something that they enjoy every year. They ask for it, and we hike all the way to the top of the mountain and are able to look over the farm, which is so much fun and so beautiful. So please follow along with me as we go ahead and get started baking those cookies. I'm gonna cheat a little bit today. I'm gonna use cake mix and make cake mix red velvet cookies. Now you can do it from scratch. I am cheating a little bit today just because I'm doing it for a Christmas party and I want it to go well. I don't want it to go bad. So I have my red velvet cake mix. I have my oil, my white chocolate chip cookies, and my eggs. Oh my goodness, I love the way cake mix smells, and red velvet is one of my all-time favorites. All right, so this is our half a cup of oil. If you have your cream cheese, we are going to be making our cream cheese icing from scratch. So if you have your cream cheese, go ahead and sit it out so it can start becoming room temperature. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and get started mixing our ingredients. These are going to be great for Christmas, especially with the beautiful white chocolate chips on the inside and the green sprinkles. I'm really excited about this. This seems super thick, so hopefully it turns out okay. But see how thick that is? The instructions I saw did say that it's pretty thick consistency. So I think I got it all. And see how thick that is? Now the instructions just say to fold a cup of white chocolate chips into it. I'm not gonna measure these out. I'm just gonna, I know about half of this bag is a cup. So I'm just gonna take about half the bag and then gently kind of fold them in and press them into the batter. Look how pretty that looks. Look how pretty. So I just want to make sure that they're mixed throughout and not just here on top, but it's looking pretty good. And then the recipe says when we go to bake the cookies and kind of spoon them out, we can also press 1 or 2 or 3 chocolate chips, the white chocolate chips, into the top if you're not able to see some of the ones mixed in, but it's looking great. I don't know if we're gonna have a problem, but we'll see when we go to spoon them out. Now that our dough is finished and the cookie dough is nice and mixed in with the chocolate chips, I'm gonna go ahead and place saran wrap on this and place it in the fridge. Oh, the box is starting to break. And place this in the fridge. The instructions say to let it refrigerate for about 30 minutes to an hour. So while this is refrigerating, we're gonna go ahead and get started on our cream cheese icing that we're gonna put as the filling. As we're baking these Christmas cookies, I thought it would be fun for you guys to follow along as we start pulling out all of our Christmas decorations. My kids absolutely love Christmas. They love decorating, they love everything about it, and this is one of their favorite things to do with me. So we go the cheesy, very traditional Christmas decoration route of elves and Santa and snowmen, and as much as I would love a beautifully decorated Hallmark version of a Christmas house, or the trendy look, a farmhouse look, that is just not this season of life, and I'm actually completely okay with that. I know one day I will get the chance to have a beautifully decorated home with all the trendy looks. However, right now I am enjoying the cheesiness, and the little ones get to enjoy it with me. I mixed all of the cookie dough in here thinking that thinking I was gonna need my mixer, and I ended up not needing it for this, but then I realized I need it for the cream cheese icing. So I'm gonna just transfer all of this cookie dough into this bowl, and then I'm gonna clean this one out so that I can use it to make our cream cheese icing, because I'm gonna need to mix and kind of mix up the powdered sugar into the cream cheese. And using the mixer would make it a lot easier. But if you don't have a mixer, I'm sure you could do it by hand as well. It's gonna take a little bit longer, or even a hand mixer would be fine. Okay. So round two, this is going back in the fridge. To make the cream cheese filling, it calls for 12 ounces of cream cheese and 1 cup of powdered sugar. I only have 1 block of cream cheese, so the 1 block is 8 ounces. So really you would need 1.5 blocks of cream cheese. But again, I can eyeball it. I don't think that this is an exact science like baking a cake or anything like that. It's just making the cream cheese icing filling. So what I'll do is I'm gonna add the cream cheese in here and then slowly add 1 cup of sugar, and I may not add all of it. So we'll get started and see where we end up, and if we end up adding all of it, of course, I'll let you know. You want your cream cheese to be room temperature because that's gonna be what makes this a lot easier to stir and mix in together. There we go. So this is about 1 cup, and we're gonna go ahead and get started mixing it. Our icing is finished and it looks so pretty and fluffy and creamy. So I am excited to try this. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. That is great. That is fantastic. So this is my trial round. This is not something, I wanted to test this recipe before taking it because I'm really bad about trying recipes the day of to take to different parties, and I really want it to be better this time and try ahead of time. So this is gonna be the trial round for my family to try. And then if it goes well, if they look pretty, if they taste great, then we'll take them to the party this weekend. I just didn't wanna have to take just your standard old Christmas cookies. I wanted to be able to have fun with it. So this is my way of getting to enjoy it and have fun in the kitchen and try something new that is very simple. And my mom last year for Christmas got me a cupcake icing kit, which I was really excited about, but had not had a chance to use it. So this is my first time using the kit, and it came with these silicone bags as well as the metal tips here that you can choose from. And so I'm gonna fill this and put all of this cream cheese icing into here. And I don't think, only made enough for one batch of icing, and so I don't know if I want to use all of it on our red velvet cookies, because again, I want to try both cookie recipes, and to do that I may have to just do some for the red velvet and some for the other one. This is proving to be more challenging to get it in here. Obviously I've never used these before. I feel like I'm getting more on the outside of the bag than I am on the inside of the bag. Is it normally this messy to get them in the silicone bags? Because I feel like I see everybody else do it and they are a lot smoother about this than I'm going. I think I got most of it in there, so let me see if I can kind of squeeze it down towards the bottom. We got our icing. Our cookie batter is in the fridge, our icing is finished. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pull the cookie batter back out. It's been at least 30 minutes, if not more, and we're gonna go ahead and spoon that out, get it in the oven. While I was making this, I preheated the oven to 350 degrees, and these are gonna bake for 8 to 10 minutes. Now I'm gonna watch them because I'm also gonna make the cookies a lot smaller than the recipe calls for, just because I want it to go as far as I can. And again, I'm trying it out to see how it goes for this weekend, and I want to try to make them smaller because there's going to be about 40 people at this party, and I want to make sure that I make enough for everybody if they happen to want to try them. So I got my sprinkles out. I'm torn between whether I want to do Christmas sprinkles and different colored ones or the green ones right here. But I think I'm leaning towards the green because they would look so pretty against the red with the white chocolate chips in there, and I think it would make it look even more Christmassy than the multicolored sprinkles. But we'll try it out and see which one we like more. And then once I get those in the oven, I'm gonna get started on my other cookies. I have my cookie batter here and it is looking beautiful. So we'll go ahead and take the plastic off. And I'm going to start spooning it out on here, but I have parchment paper on the pan and I'm gonna go ahead and lightly spray it with some Pam. So I finally got all of my cookies scooped out and onto the pan, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this batch in the oven, and it says to cook for 8 to 10 minutes. Now, I think I'm gonna put it in, set the timer for 5 minutes and then take a look at it. I'm sure it'll need more than 5 minutes, but at least at the 5-minute mark, I can start watching it closely because these cookies are a lot smaller than the ones that we planned, that the instructions said to do. So I'm gonna I want them smaller because I want it to go further. And I'm gonna go ahead and get these in the oven, but don't they look pretty? And I didn't really need to add any more chocolate chips to the top. And I did take a couple of white ones and just kind of plop them onto the top and rearrange them so you could see them so that there was no only red cookie showing on top. But I don't think I really need to go around and take extra ones because these are packed full with the white chocolate chips. So they look so pretty right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these into the oven and we'll get started on the second batch. Our timer just went off. It's a total of 7 minutes so far, and we're gonna go ahead and take them out and see what they look like. Oh, those look beautiful. They're nice and puffed up. Whoop. They're nice and puffed up, so they'll kind of settle down a little bit. I'm gonna let these fully cool before I put the cream cheese filling in them. And I'm gonna make them kind of like a chipwich, like a little sandwich, and then put the sprinkles around the edge. But these are looking great. We're gonna let them cool while I put these in the oven, and we'll get started on the other cookies. I'm gathering all of my ingredients for my next recipe, which is the chocolate chip cookies that are kind of in a cup shape that we'll try to put the cream cheese filling kind of in a twirl on top. Now, while I'm doing that, my timer went off, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these out. And they look so pretty. I'm so excited about these. I absolutely love red velvet, so I'm excited to see what they taste like with the cream cheese filling on the inside. I went ahead and turned my oven off because I am gonna have to pause here in a moment to go get my kids from school, but that is okay because we will be at a good pausing point. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this cookie dough batter made and stick it in the fridge, and then that way when we come back, all I have to do is bake it. But I may have to refill my flour containers because all of them are looking empty. I need 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and I may have to refill my container here in a moment. Oh, looky there. Exactly 3 cups. But I am gonna have to refill this because I use my 5-pound bucket pretty often. This is what I store my flour in. So I'm gonna have to, I have another bag of flour in there that's a 25-pound, and usually they fit in a 5-gallon bucket. I said 5-pound bucket, I meant 5-gallon bucket. A 25-pound fits in a 5-gallon bucket. So I'm gonna go ahead and refill that as well here in a moment. But I wanna get this done before I leave, and then I can do this when I come back. And it calls for a teaspoon of baking soda, calls for 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 sticks of butter. Now really ideally you would want this softened. I forgot to pull mine out of the fridge, so hopefully this still mixes pretty well and easily. If you have a mixer, go ahead and pull your mixer out because this is going to be one that you want to do in the mixer if you can. These are my all-time favorite chocolate chip cookies. Every time I've ever made these, they've turned out fantastic. I've never had a problem with them, and they taste wonderful. Next, it calls for 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and half a cup of sugar. I think it's almost time for me to use my homemade vanilla extract. So hopefully the next time I make this, I can actually use my homemade vanilla extract and see how it tastes. I don't want to test it on strangers though, or fellow workers. And next, I believe, is our brown sugar, which we're gonna use our homemade brown sugar. Looks like my homemade brown sugar is almost out. So we are kind of doing a restock day too. I don't know if I can get 1 1/4 cups out of this. All right, so that's about less than a cup, so I need to make some more. So what I may do is I'm just gonna add a little bit more sugar and then a little bit of molasses, and that's how you make brown sugar. Is all you have to do is add the sugar and a little bit of molasses. So instead of doing it in the mixing bowl, which I have right here with the cookie mix in it, I'm gonna do it just straight in the bowl. Okay, so I added a little bit of molasses, but I accidentally added it when I poured it out one end. It accidentally tilted it back to try to get it to stop pouring. I ended up pouring out a lot more than I intended to. So I tried to scoop some of it out, but you know, sometimes accidents happen. I think it will be fine. It's just going to be a little bit sweeter than I intended for it to be. But this is the experimental batch. I'm not worried about it because I'm sure my kids will eat this. It will be just fine. But for the other batch, I will make sure I have some brown sugar already made. That way this doesn't happen again. But we're just gonna roll with it, and I'm sure it will be just fine. So I needed another, let's see. This is half a cup, and I have it halfway filled, so that's about 1/4. So I need this plus a little more to get the amount that I missed out on earlier. Typically you wouldn't want to eyeball this, but we're just, like I said, gonna go with it, and it will be just fine for today. And then come Saturday, I will make sure I have some brown sugar already made. And I'm gonna go ahead and get this on the mixer and get this, oh, I need to put my eggs in. The recipe also calls for 2 eggs. After I get this on the mixer and get it all mixed up, I'm gonna add my 2 cups of chocolate chips to this. Now that we have our cookie dough all mixed up and the chocolate chips are mixed into it, I went ahead and sprayed my pan really well because I'm not using cupcake liners. So I want to make sure that my cookies aren't going to stick to the pan. So I did kind of excessively spray it. So don't be afraid to utilize that or oil of some sort. Just make sure you get it coated really well. And now I'm putting the cookie dough in. And next, once I have all the cookie dough in there, I'm going to take the time to press it down and make it into a cup shape. Now, if you have something that's in this shape where you could kind of press it down into the center and it does it for you, then that would make it a lot easier. I did not find anything other than maybe a spice bottle that I could possibly use. So I decided just to do it by hands. But if you happen to have something that you can use, then that would make it go a lot faster. During this time while I was pressing these down into the cup shape, I went ahead and preheated my oven to 350 degrees. And the recipe calls for these to be baked for 11 to 13 minutes. I always preset my timer for earlier than the bake time just to make sure it's not burning. However, for these cupcakes, I did notice they actually needed, this is the first time that I've had them actually go as long as the recipe calls for. And I think it's because I put a lot of dough to make the cup shape, so that I'm sure that probably contributed to it. But while these are baking, I'm going ahead and my red velvet cookies are nice and cool. They are no longer warm, so I'm not afraid of them melting the cream cheese icing anymore. So we're going to go ahead and turn them into chipwiches. This was my first time using the icing funnel. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to call it, but the bag with the icing inside of it. And so it definitely took a couple rounds of practicing with it a little bit and just having fun with it and knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect and that's okay. But I didn't have to fill up the entire cookie. I could just kind of do a little bit in the center and then do around the edge of the cookie. And that actually was completely sufficient, especially because when you push them together, it kind of pushes out into the center anyway. So I didn't have to put a whole lot on there. But again, it took a few times of me practicing using this to get it to the right texture, right consistency, right amount. And I did want to do a little bit extra on the edges just so that when I go to push the sprinkles into the sides, that it was kind of puffing out past the cookie to make it easier to get the sprinkles to stay. So practice makes perfect, and we finally got it towards the end, and I was getting the hang of using the funnel. While I was doing this, our cookies for the cupcake cookies with the cream cheese in the center finished baking, and I went ahead and pulled out that batch from the oven. And as you could tell in the video a few minutes ago, it was very puffed up in the center, but that did not concern me at all. I knew that it would probably fall a little bit, and then on top of that, I planned to put the cream cheese swirl in the center, so it would look just fine and you wouldn't be able to tell anyway. I decided to go with the lime green sprinkles just because I like the way that that bright green looked against the bright red. But you can have fun with it, use whatever sprinkles you have, and these cookies actually would be really good for multiple different holidays. You could do it for Christmas, Valentine's Day, or even 4th of July. That's the great thing about red velvet and doing red velvet cookies made from the cookie cake or from the cake mix. You can use it for multiple other holidays and use whatever sprinkles to go with it. So if I wanted to do these for 4th of July, I could do red velvet cookies with blue sprinkles and it would be perfect for the 4th of July. So it's very versatile, but it was very fun to do for Christmas and get into the Christmas spirit and enjoy it. Now that the cookies are finished and I completely let them cool before I started cutting them out, I'm ready to start kind of popping them out. I'm using a knife to kind of scrape around the edges to loosen them and then gently pry them out because you don't want them to crack and crumble or break. And if you don't let them cool all the way beforehand, then that's the problem that you'll come across is they'll start breaking. So make sure you let them cool all the way. Now I'm just taking the cream cheese frosting or icing that we made earlier, and I'm just doing a little dollop in this very center of each cupcake or cookie cupcake. And then again, choosing the sprinkles that you feel is most festive and that you'll have the most fun with. Hey guys, it's the end of the day and all of the kids are well fed and the little ones are in bed, and I am cleaning up the kitchen as we speak. But I do want to go ahead and try one of these. I'm really excited about these. The kids absolutely love them. So I'm going to go ahead and try it now myself, now that everybody else has gotten to. This is really good. I love red velvet and the cream cheese icing on the inside with the powdered sugar mixed in is so good. It is wonderful. So if you have never tried these recipes before, feel free to follow along. You can do these recipes. Again, I'll add in the description how to make the cookies, and then the chocolate chip cookie as well. I'll put that recipe in the description too. But man, this was really good. If you guys have any other suggestions or ideas, please put them in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share. And thank you guys so much for sharing this Christmas season with us and taking time out of your day to join us.